Bonsoir à tous. Welcome. Bonsoir. Dear Watatakalu, representative of the women of the Tsingu Indigenous Territory, Madame la directrice générale de l'Alliance pour la préservation des forêts, Madame la doyenne de Psia, chère Arantxa, dear students and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Watatakalu, on behalf of the entire Sciences Po community, I'd like to greet you with a very warm welcome and tell you how honored and happy we are to have you with us for this outstanding 60-minute debate on the role of the Amazon for planet Earth and humankind. If I'm not wrong, it's your first visit to Sciences Po. But in a few years only, we're happy to have you because you have become truly a living symbol of the specific role that women play and must play and can play in the battle for the preservation of the Amazon, in the fight for the rights of the indigenous people. And we tend to believe that your visit today also pays tribute to the fact that we are engaged with you in this fight and that the role of Sciences Po in this fight is also key. I'd like to thank very much Dean Gonzalez, chère Arantxa, comme toujours, as always, who is the lead convener of our meeting today and has, before you, helped Sciences Po and our faculty and our students enter in debate that are so key for our world, day after day, weeks after weeks, and months after months, and that's the role of the Dean and of the students of PSIA who are with us tonight and whom I'd like to cheer as well. With your visit today, we are showcasing and showing our engagement, as I said, our concern as well, but also our wish to celebrate planet Earth, the fight for cultural diversity in a very global world, also the 75th anniversary, and I know that's why you are in France, of the Universal Declaration for the Human Rights. And also, last but not least, our fight and our celebration for the agency of women in all these battles. So with this, I will leave you in the best hands of Dean Gonzalez. And dear guests, thank you very much for being with us. Please join me and join Arantxa Gonzalez in greeting our distinguished guest today and tell her that on that first visit, we want to make sure that you know that Sciences Po is your home, and also that we hope that we will be pursuing our work with you and our collaboration with you as much as possible. And on this, I know I'm speaking very much on behalf of the students of PSIA as well. So again, thank you very much. And dear guests, please enjoy a very unique moment of exchange with Watatakalu. Thank you very much, and thank you. And thank you to our interpreter as well, who agreed to do that on the spot. So thank you very much, monsieur. We're going to have a moderation by Dean Gonzalez, and after that we will jump and delve into the discussion with the room. We will need to have time for the interpretation, but please, as always, make this special moment a very vivid debate and enjoy that moment with us.
Bem-vinda, Watatakalu. Welcome. Eu sei que lei fala português Io falo portugnolo. Non so se è ottimo. Falamos in inglese. Io falo in inglese. E você fala in português.
Ainda não falo.
Português. Benissimo. So, you are,
Você é
above anything else, a woman cacique leader.
você é uma liderança, uma mulher liderança.
And it must not be very easy because you're living in a world of men.
Isso aí não deve ser muito fácil porque você mora no mundo de homens.
So, how do you exercise this leadership?
Você pode explicar como que você aciona a sua liderança? Para responder agora? Tá. Quer?
Sim. Bom. Boa noite a todas, a todos. Obrigada pelo convite. Para mim é muito importante. Eu vou ficar em pé para elas olharem, né? Para eles olharem.
Good night to everyone. For me, it's really important to be here. And now I'm going to stand and I'm going to share something with you.
Em primeiro lugar, eu vim de linhagem de líderes do meu povo. Meus pais são de etnias diferentes, mas os dois são lideranças de seus povos. E desde criança eu meio que fui treinada, né, para liderar as mulheres do meu povo.
So the first thing that I have to say is that my my parents are from different tribes, but both of them were leaders, and I was raised to be a leader.
E eu me aproveitei dessa situação.
And I enjoy of this situation.
Para traçar meu próprio caminho.
To make my own way, my path.
Foi decidido muitas vezes como que seria a minha vida.
A lot of times people try to decide how my life should look like.
Mas como uma mulher indígena e liderança do meu povo, eu decidi que eu podia mudar a história e o futuro e o caminho das nossas filhas.
But as a woman, indigenous woman, I decided how I will envision the future and how could I change it for the future also of my daughters.
E assumi essa posição sabendo que incomodaria muitos homens.
And I took over that position knowing that a lot of men will not agree.
E eu aceitei aprender tudo da minha cultura primeiro.
And I...
Eu aprendi tudo da minha cultura, tudo que foi ensinado para mim durante a minha adolescência.
So I learned from all my culture in the beginning.
Porque naquela época o meu pai, que me incentivava muito a me posicionar, ele disse que um dia tudo que eu aprendesse naquele momento eu poderia usar.
Because my father told me when I was a kid that one day everything that I will learn from him and from my culture, I was going to use it.
Vi muitas mulheres, quando foram tentar falar, uma plenária como essa, assoviar para ela.
I saw a lot of women, when they will come to places like these ones with a lot of people, they will be really afraid.
E sabendo que a posição que eu ocupava dentro do meu povo, ninguém poderia assoviar quando eu falasse.
And I knew from the position that I have within my people that nobody could not allow me when I will speak.
Mesmo que a minha fala, o meu posicionamento incomode muitas pessoas, eu uso essa posição para levar a voz das mulheres.
And even if my voice will incommodate, will not like to everyone, I knew that I had to lead this voice of the women, of the indigenous woman.
Aprendi as histórias, aprendi a nossa arte, trabalho com cerâmica, com as esteiras, com a rede, aprendi a arte do canto.
I learned our stories, I learned our songs, I learn our different arts. I work with ceramics.
E eu carrego isso e eu me orgulho muito disso porque tem muito homem que não sabe disso. E isso é uma coisa que ninguém pode tirar da gente, o nosso conhecimento.
And this is something that I hold with me. And there are a lot of people that cannot know, a lot of men that don't know about the things. And this, my culture, is something that no one can take out from me.
So you're here for the 75th anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And we know that human rights are women's rights. And that women's rights are also human rights. How do you, Watatakalu, how do you make sure that the rights of indigenous women are also human rights?
Porque todas nós geramos vida, todas nós educamos. A maioria das mulheres que são professoras dentro das escolas, né, antes de vir para as universidades, dentro das universidades, a maioria são mulheres. E assim também é no mundo indígena. A gente que cuida das sementes, da educação dos nossos filhos, a gente guarda a nossa cultura, a nossa língua. Eu falo 5 línguas indígenas. Aí português é o 6º. A minha última língua, eu estou querendo aprender francês e inglês.
Because all of us, we create life. We are the ones educating our kids. We're also, when you go to a school, we are the ones that are educating, also like we're teaching. It's like this outside in your world, but it's also like this in my community, in my ethnic group. So we are in our lands, we're taking care of the seeds, we're taking care of the reproduction of things. So that's why like it's important for us to have this position.
Então, quando se fala em direitos humanos, não tem como separar, né, as mulheres disso. Porque a primeira mulher é a terra, que é nossa mãe.
And that's why when you speak about human rights, you cannot divide that and not speak about women's right. It's not possible. And the first right that we have to give to somebody is our earth. This is our mother. So these are the first rights.
One of your main fights is against deforestation. And you just told us that you were just with the French president, and I'm sure that part of this conversation was how does one work to preserve this incredible richness that is our biodiversity?
A gente trabalha, os povos indígenas, né? Porque não existe só o Watatakalu, existe várias de nós. E o nosso maior trabalho no mundo é conscientizar que as pessoas não destruam mais a floresta. O nosso trabalho é muito de tentar preservar a água. Porque a água e as árvores, né, a floresta amazônica, por exemplo, não é coisa separada. Então, são as duas coisas que a gente luta para preservar.
So us, indigenous people, because it's not just Watatakalu here, there are a lot of other Watatakalus back in Brazil, and we are working to preserve our land, to preserve like the health of our trees and of our rivers, because both of them are the same thing, they are interconnected, and we're making this fight to protect biodiversity.
O encontro com o presidente Macron, porque ele ele fala que protege a biodiversidade, quer ajudar a proteger a floresta. E eu vi na última turnê onde ele falava muito isso. Ele falou assim: eu vou conversar com o presidente Lula.
So we have a meeting today with Mr. President Macron, because he says that he's like a leading voice and he really wants to protect biodiversity and also the forest. And I remember I came already like a couple of months ago with him, and he was speaking about this topic of like really protecting biodiversity.
E ele falou que ia perguntar para o Lula o que era melhor para os povos indígenas. Aquele ali, o meu sangue subiu. Eu fiquei muito nervosa quando ele falou isso.
So last time when I was here, he told me, I will ask Lula how to protect better indigenous people. And at that moment, my voice went out. I was like, no, it's not like to Lula that he has to ask.
Eu falei assim, como assim ele vai perguntar para um caraíba, outro caraíba, o que é bom para o meu povo?
How he's going to ask to someone that is white, a white guy to another white guy, asking each other, hey, what is good for these indigenous people?
E eu falei para ele, você tem que apoiar diretamente os povos que realmente protegem a floresta. Não pode ser mais de falação, só de boca, tem que ser, de fato, um apoio que vai para aqueles que realmente estão ali trabalhando para a proteção das florestas amazônicas no Brasil.
And what I told him is, Mr. Macron, if you really want to protect biodiversity, you have to like help us directly, the ones that are helping us, supporting and protecting the forests, the indigenous people. So you have to really see the work that we're doing and support our work.
E assim, eu tive que pegar a palavra porque eles nem iam olhar para mim.
And it was really funny because it was these guys speaking together, and I have to take over the talk and really ask them, can I speak?
Eu falei para ele, aqui as mulheres também podem falar ou só serve para traduzir?
I look at him and I ask him, here women that we can speak, or we're just here to do the translation?
Ele ficou com o olho enorme, assim, assustado. E eu também.
And he looked at me and he looked like a little bit afraid.
Eu achei que ele nunca mais queria me receber, né? Naquele momento, ele falou que queria mesmo apoiar. Aí eles ficaram falando, vou ajudar, não sei o quê. Eu falei, não, você fica falando, eu quero saber quanto que você vai apoiar a gente. Eu quero números, que eu não gosto de enrolação.
And at that moment, I thought he will never invite me again. I will never see him again. And at that moment, I also asked him, okay, you're saying that you want to help us? Okay, how much are you going to give us? In which way are you going to help us? We need money to make all these things. How much are you ready to give it to us so we can make actions happen in our land?
E eu falei aquilo porque eu vejo os países liberarem bilhões e bilhões de recursos para o Brasil para destruição, para construir ferrovias, estradas, hidrelétricas, desmatamento, poluição de rios.
What I can see is like in the European countries, they open like a lot of credit, like billions of euros, to finance infrastructure, to finance like the development of different roads and rails, and all this is like contributing, unfortunately, like to the deforestation of the Amazonian jungle.
E aí ele vai apoiar com 10 milhões de euros só nesse primeiro projeto, porque nós, povos indígenas, tudo muito novo isso para a gente.
So it's really good because Macron commit to support us with 10 million euros. This is like the first time that he's doing that. And you have to know that this is really also new for us as indigenous people.
Porque a gente quer capacitar os nossos jovens a mexerem na tecnologia de vocês, a gente quer capacitar os nossos jovens a gerir o recurso que vem de fora do país para os nossos territórios, porque a gente não vai pegar o dinheiro de outros países e fazer o que os outros fazem.
Because we need to train our youth. We have to teach them how to manage this money that is going to come to us directly, now, and we're really happy that it's coming directly to us, but we need to learn and to see in which way we're doing it, and we're not going to do it in the way that it was done in the past by other organizations.
Porque para a gente a palavra é muito sério, é muito importante. Cumprir com a nossa palavra, para a gente é muito sagrado. E aí a gente voltou aí para cobrar ele.
Because our word for us in our culture is really sacred. So what I say, I will do it. So that's why, like today, when I went to see Macron, I was like, okay, so now you're going to do it?
E nós vamos, né? A gente tem, o nosso povo está preparado, né? Para enfrentar toda essa luta. A nossa ideia é buscar fazer com que as nascentes sejam recuperadas. De que forma, né? Articulando com os fazendeiros que são nossos vizinhos, que desmatam, poluem.
So now our people, we are ready, we are articulated, we have been organizing ourselves, and we're ready to fight. We're ready to fight a lot of different things that are like really important in our land, in our territory. For instance, around our land, we have like all these different agricultural lands. Particularly, they are owning the beginning of the rivers. So we want to go and want to speak with these people, and we want to buy their land so we can have ownership over the rivers and the health of the rivers.
Replantando as nascentes que estão todas no pasto, né? A gente vai tentar comprar as fazendas que estão onde estão as nossas as nascentes, onde a gente não conseguir comprar, tentar articular com o dono, porque a gente não está mais no momento de guerrear com arco e flecha.
So we're going to go and dialogue with like these owners of these lands, and we're going to try to buy these lands and to have ownership over the beginning of the rivers right now. This is like really critical for us. And if they don't want to sell us the land, we're going to speak with them and try to see what other kind of like agriculture they can do that is not polluting our waters, because all these waters is coming afterwards to us, so we cannot drink it anymore, so we cannot live like this. So we know that we have to fight, but we're not fighting anymore with like a bow and an arrow, where it's another way of fighting.
Porque preservar tudo isso é preservar a nossa cultura, o nosso povo, a nossa biodiversidade, né? Quando a gente fala, toda vez que a gente se apresenta, me apresento como Watatakalu Yawalapiti, do bioma amazônico, né? Assim como temos mulheres, bioma cerrado, bioma pantanal, pampa, caatinga, né? Mata Atlântica, porque a gente sabe que sem elas, a gente está cortando também as veias que ligam o que dá vida para o nosso planeta.
So this is the way that we're acting, and because this is the way to preserve and to work and fight for these things, is the only way to preserve our culture. If we don't have access to this nature, we cannot go on living there. So, and this is the way I introduce myself when I say, hello, and my name is Watatakalu Yawalapiti from Biome Amazon. So I always introduce myself in relationship with nature. And in Brazil, we have a lot of different biome zones, so like ecological zones. We have Mato Grosso, we have like Cerrado, we have Mata Atlântica. So this is the way that indigenous people, we see the world. It's not just like us as individuals or like a collective, like a tribe. We are inside of an ecosystem of nature, and that's why we have to work together with it, and we have to preserve it.
I'm going to ask a final question, so you get ready to put yours. As usual, we will go to the mic and ask Watatakalu what you have in mind. But before I do, there are lots of students in this university. Men, and also, as you can see in the room, many women that they study human rights. They study environmental policy. They study climate change. And they do that because they want to have a say in preserving the world.
Eles estão a fazer isso porque eles estão, tipo, comprometidos em ter uma fala para conservar o mundo.
So what's your advice to them?
O que você pode, o que falar para eles? Qual é o teu conselho para eles?
Obrigada
Thank you.
por me dar a oportunidade de poder falar para a futura geração que vai dirigir o mundo.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with the next generation that is going to be managing and being in positions of directions of this world.
O futuro nosso do planeta está na mão de cada um de vocês. Acredito que aqui deve ter todos os povos, porque não dá mais o mundo ficar na mão de alguns.
The future of the world is here in the hands of each of you. Each of you have a responsibility to play. And I hope that here you have representatives for every different country and every different ethnic group, because it's not possible anymore to leave in the hands of really little few people the destiny of our planet.
Que vocês possam levar essa mensagem de luta para as famílias de vocês, para dentro da casa de vocês, para as empresas que vocês vão querer trabalhar e escolher bem com quem vocês estão trabalhando.
And I hope you're going to be able to bring this message of fight of justice back to your families and also to the companies where you're going to work. Think well when you're going to go to a company. With which kind of company are you going to work? With whom are you going to collaborate? And what is the meaning of that?
E principalmente o cuidado, né, com as nossas florestas, tudo que nós consumimos. Nós não podemos mais ter pessoas que têm mais e pessoas que não têm nada.
And also remember, like, what is the impact of that in the environment, particularly in the forest, in the Amazonian jungle? What are we consuming? What are the things that we're buying?
Não dá mais para falar isso não vai me atingir, porque todos nós moramos na mesma casa e esse planeta vai morrer se vocês não pensarem no futuro de vocês.
We cannot act like nothing is happening, this is too far away from me, because actually what is happening right now is that our land, our earth is dying. So if we don't act now, like, we're just going to destroy everything.
E que os estudos de vocês, as pesquisas de vocês possam servir para melhorar o mundo.
And I hope that your studies and also all the research you're going to do is going to serve to make a better world.
Cada um de vocês vão para direções diferentes, então vocês podem fazer. Cada um de vocês tem o poder de mudar o mundo.
Each one of you are going to go into different directions, so each one of you will have the opportunity at your level to change this world.
E eu espero que um dia indígenas do meu povo possam estar aqui com vocês.
And I hope that one day indigenous people from my land will be here also with you studying here.
Porque precisamos ter essa troca.
Because we need to have this exchange.
É isso. Eu espero que eu possa ter chegado no coração de cada um de vocês, né? Porque eu tenho filhas da idade de vocês.
I hope that I arrived into your hearts, because I also have like daughters that are your age.
É isso.
So, the floor is to you. The mic is over there. You've got to walk to the mic.
in Portuguese and then I can translate. Mas, antes de mais, queria muito agradecer. Acho que foi uma partilha mesmo interessante e enriquecedora. E a minha questão era quais é que foram os maiores impactos da crise climática e quais é que foram as adaptações que também tiveram que fazer nas vossas práticas, tradições. My question is about the impacts and the changes in the practices and culture due to climate change.
Nossos rios secaram, muitos rios secaram, e outros que não secaram, estava parecendo que alguém ferveu a água, muitos peixes mortos, a nossa floresta pegando fogo, as nossas casas queimando na chuva, porque o raio, nós vivemos em ocas, né, feitos de sapé, então o raio atingiu as nossas aldeias, está atingindo nesse momento, isso está acontecendo agora, então queima uma aldeia inteira, porque está tendo fogo, coisa que não acontecia antes.
So our rivers are dry, are becoming dry. A lot of them, I don't know if you saw it, but they were like, we have a big drought this year in the Amazonian jungle. The ones that were not like dry, they were so hot. The water was like almost like boiling. A lot of fishes died and they were like just floating there. We have more and more fires also in our forest, also because of the rain of the rains and the ray of light. We had a sort of situation that we never had before, is that our villages sometimes are like are burning because our houses are done with like with leaves, with the palm leaves. So, and we have more rains that are with like rays of lights, and like when one of the houses get on fire, then a lot of houses get on fire. So this is something that was not happening before.
As nossas roças que a gente plantou numa época não nasceu porque a chuva demorou para vir, então nós perdemos muitos sementes e ficamos um ano inteiro assim sem poder, porque a gente teve que esperar o próximo ano para replantar de novo.
Our harvest is also not longer the same. We have a traditional way of producing agriculture, and this year, because the rains came like too late, like everything was spoiled, and we didn't have like all the food that we were like used and expecting to have, and we had to wait 1 year to go again and being able like to develop again these techniques.
A gente não anda mais sem roupa porque o sol está muito quente. A gente não anda mais descalço porque o chão, quando você anda, o seu pé queima tudo, fica cheio de bolhas.
So normally we don't use clothes, we don't wear clothes, but now we have to wear clothes because the sun is too hot for us. We also have to wear like shoes. Normally we are barefoot, but the earth is like really like boiling, so we need to wear something. Otherwise we have like blisters.
E o que nós mudamos, né? A gente está tendo que rever as nossas ações também, mudando a época de plantio, a gente está mudando o nosso modo de fazer as nossas roças, a gente também está mudando de como cuidar para que a floresta não queime, né? Porque antes a gente não tinha essa preocupação, e hoje a gente está tendo que treinar brigadistas para poder cuidar das nossas florestas durante a seca.
So what are the things that change that we have to change in terms of like way of like doing and being? We had to change the way that we produce agriculture, as I was saying before, like the weather is different now, so we have to adapt ourselves and you make it in different months with different techniques. Also in terms of the fires, we were having more and more fires, so we had to train around 100 different people to be there and to like try to see when a fire is starting or happening so they can stop it out, because otherwise it's really dangerous for us.
Eu acho que alguns exemplos aí que eu estou passando para vocês.
These are just a few examples where we had to change a lot of things.
Muito obrigado. Sim, falo pouquinho português, but I'll speak in English. So thank you so much for coming. And I had a question for you, being a leader. So you represent all, if I understood well, the indigenous communities in Brazil. And I was wondering, how did you manage to federate all the differences? Because we have, for example, Shai Suryo, who is not necessarily who necessarily doesn't have all the same way to act as you. So yeah, how did you face those challenges being a leader, and what would you give as advices? Because I guess we're all gonna have, I wish, some leading positions in the future. Thank you.
A pergunta dele é bem. Eu faço parte da Articulação Nacional de Mulheres Indígenas, né? Sou uma das mulheres terra da Amiga, que somos as cofundadoras da Amiga.
So I am part of the Articulation of Indigenous Women, Amiga. I am part of particular the chapter called Mulheres Terra, so like women from the earth. I'm one of the founders of this Articulation of Women.
Mas antes disso, no meu território tem 16 povos com línguas e costumes diferentes. E no meu território a gente também se organizou. Então, no meu território eu represento as 16 etnias. Então, as mulheres, as 20 mulheres que são da Amiga, elas são articuladoras, são lideranças dos seus territórios. Então, a gente começou também a articular, uma articulação a nível nacional, levando o nosso exemplo.
So the first thing is like also in my land, the Xingu where I come from, were 16 different ethnic groups with different languages. So the first thing that we had to do is like I had been like working in my territory for like many years, so I already had to learn how to articulate and how to work with different cultures. So most of the women that were now like at this level of like national representation of indigenous articulation, we come also from territories where we had to learn how to deal and how to dialogue with like other ethnic groups. So we're like 20 right now, and all of us have this reality like at local level. So then at like national level, we know already more or less how to do it, and we're like, yeah, sharing it together.
Mas isso só foi possível porque meu pai era do movimento indígena, então, desde criança, eu já faço parte, eu nasci no movimento indígena, e eu vi meu pai articular como que se faz. Então, eu meio que copiei essa parte de articular.
So I think that also this is possible because my father was also a leader and he was part of the indigenous movement in Brazil. So since I'm a kid, I saw him working and I saw him like doing all these alliances and like really making this, articulating compromises with different ethnic groups. So somehow I just copy him.
E não foi fácil porque isso desagrada muitas pessoas. Né? Eu criei, junto com as outras mulheres, o projeto chamado Casa das Mulheres. Dentro da nossa cultura existe a Casa dos Homens, que as mulheres não podem usar ela, porque existe uma flauta lá dentro, e a mulher que olhar essa flauta, ela é estuprada coletivamente. Mas a flauta foi criada pelas mulheres na nossa história, e os homens tomaram. E, para eles se apossarem da nossa flauta, eles guardam dentro da Casa dos Homens, que a gente não tem acesso. Aí eu resolvi fazer uma Casa das Mulheres também.
So there are also things like that we do that like a lot of people don't like them. For instance, in my culture, we have this house called the House of Men, and I created the House of Women. Before there was just this House of Men, and women were not allowed there. Inside of this house, you have a flute, and this flute was supposed to be like really sacred, and we couldn't enter there. And if a woman will enter there, we will say that she will be afterwards like raped by everyone in the community. So no one was entering there. But the story also of origin of this flute is that it used to belong to women, and the men took it away from us, and they put it there. and they just like leave it for without us to be able to have access to it. So I say, you know what? I'm just going to create also a house for us women.
Mas ninguém gosta que eu fale isso, porque é uma coisa que queria ficar escondido. Mas eu falo, porque as coisas têm que ser falado, têm que ser mostrado. Tem culturas que precisam ser preservadas, né? Mas tem coisas que não é cultura. Estupro não é cultura.
So there are things that I say that like people don't want me to share that outside because what are you going to say? Like for instance, this is something that I want to share with you because of course we have to protect our culture, but there are things about our culture. There are like elements of our culture that we need to dismiss, and like of course raping whoever. This is not something that we should support.
E quando a gente resolveu fazer a Casa das Mulheres, isso não foi muito bem aceito, né? Então foi aí que as pessoas começaram a olhar para a gente.
So when we create the House for Women, of course this was not really accepted, my people, but it's at that moment that they also start looking at us in a different way.
E a gente construiu a casa. E a gente foi expulsa da nossa aldeia.
Pode traduzir. So we built this house, and then like they told us to go away from our village.
E assim, eu poderia ser expulsa várias vezes de novo. Porque as mulheres sempre tiveram que lutar para ser ouvida. E nós construímos a Casa das Mulheres, hoje, em 2 lugares. Em vez de construir uma, aquela que fez a gente ser expulsa, a gente construiu 2 em outros lugares do território indígena do Xingu, e que hoje faz com que os homens escutem a gente.
So I don't care if someone wants to kick me out again, they can, but I'm not going to stop saying what I have to say. I will not stop fighting. And actually, after creating this house, I already built another one in my territory, in Xingu territory, because I know that this is the only way that men are going to look at us and like listen to us.
Esses são os casos de desafios, né? Essas mulheres não podem falar, elas estão falando besteira, estão querendo mudar a nossa cultura, mas a cultura que é falado é esses que eu falei, né? Mas estamos aqui para preservar a nossa cultura. Estamos aqui falando que nós precisamos lutar pela preservação da natureza, pela água, né? Nós não estamos aqui para tomar o lugar de ninguém, porque nós queremos estar do lado dos homens. Mas muitos anos eles não entenderam isso, mas que hoje eles parecem que estão entendendo.
So this is something that like our culture, we're going to like we want to protect our culture, but not everything. So our culture, our willingness is to protect nature. It's not to take over the place of men, is not like to compete with them. This is something else. We're here to protect nature, and we're all together into that. And this is the way that we're like doing it. And this is one of the main challenges that we have.
Thank you. Muito obrigado.
Obrigada.
Obrigada, muito obrigada por hoje. Eu vou falar em português, depois eu posso traduzir em inglês. Eu sou meia brasileira, meia holandesa. A minha mãe vem das Amazonas, ela vem da Itacoatiara, e ela se mudou para a Holanda. E ela sempre me diz que ela perdeu essa sabedoria que vinha da mãe dela sobre as Amazonas, conhecimento sobre a floresta, sobre a vida, o jeito da vida, a cultura. E ela sempre lamentou, porque nessa época ela era muito pobre e ela queria se mudar para a cidade, ela queria uma vida melhor. E também, por essa causa, ela se mudou para a Europa. E a próxima geração, eu, as minhas irmãs, meus irmãos, nós vivemos uma vida bem diferente. Nós visitamos as Amazonas, nós visitamos Manaus, temos um apartamento em Manaus, mas é diferente. Mas eu sinto, mesmo que eu moro aqui nessa floresta urbana, eu sinto nos meus raízes, no meu coração, uma conexão com as Amazonas. E eu gostaria muito de saber de você o que nós podemos fazer para aumentar a voz dos povos indígenas nas Amazonas, mesmo, por exemplo, pelo povo brasileiros que tem privilégio, que mora em outro lugar do mundo. Como é que nós podemos aumentar a voz do povo indígena e como é que nós podemos preservar essa sabedoria da cultura da Amazonas? Como é que nós podemos... Porque esse lado da pobreza também é um lado muito grande. Eu imagino que tem muita gente que quer se mudar para a cidade, por exemplo. Então, isso é a minha pergunta. So my question is concretely, what can we do, especially us Brazilians that are in maybe of a place of privilege, and outside of Brazil, how can we help augment the voices of indigenous people in Brazil, and also how can we preserve the knowledge that comes from the indigenous people in Brazil and not lose that? Muito obrigada.
Ela... Bom, como que pode ajudar a preservar, né? Eu tinha falado, aqui tem uma influência muito grande sobre o nosso país. E aqui também tem Amazônia, na Guiana Francesa, né? Eu acho que olhar para eles já é começar por isso.
So how can you help us? The first thing is like you have, in this country, you have a lot of influence over my country and over the Amazonian jungle. Actually, Guyana is part also of your country, and you have also a part of our forest. So just to look at this topic and to try to learn about this, that is the first thing that you can do.
Não é porque eles estão no país de vocês, ou no Peru, ou na Colômbia, outro. Para a gente nunca teve fronteira. Essa fronteira só foi dado pelo povo não indígena.
It's not like you are from Peru or Colombia. We don't care about all these things. All these frontiers, this is something that was created by the non-indigenous people.
Então, dar voz para os nossos parentes, né? Não importa de onde são, de qual país são, em quem chegarem vocês têm que dar mão, vocês têm que dar oportunidade de fortalecer, né? Tem muitas... Hoje a gente tem internet, vocês podem ajudar a engajar as páginas, né, dos nossos parentes, dos nossos. Vocês podem conhecer a história de cada território, né, a Articulação Nacional dos Povos Indígenas, a PIB, né, que é a nossa articulação nacional. A gente tem só das mulheres, que é a Amiga, né? A gente tem nós do Xingu, nós temos a página Mulheres do Xingu. Engajar, compartilhar para que chegue em quem vocês conhecem, vocês já vão estar fazendo esse trabalho.
So today you have so many different tools to go and to the first thing is you can do is really to support the people from your country or from whatever people that you think that is related to you. Just give them the voice, listen to them, listen to their needs, try to see in which way you can fortify them, in which way you can support them. Today with internet, you can just look for different organizations that already exist and are acting in a really good manner. It could be, for instance, the National Organization of Indigenous People in Brazil, or the Amiga, that is the National Association of Indigenous Women, or it can be even from my territory. We have a group of women, of indigenous women. So all these organizations and also women behind that you can find in different social medias, you can follow them, you can support them, you can try to engage with them to see in which way they will need your help.
Não consumir produtos que vêm da ilegalidade, né, do desmatamento, de toda que vem desses lugares. Se vocês tiverem oportunidade, venham conhecer a Amazônia, né?
try to avoid the consumption of products that are coming from deforestation, that are like helping today to eradicate the forest. Try to be mindful about where are the products, what are in which way you are buying them. And if you can, please come also to visit Amazonas. It's really important that you see what is happening there.
De 2 em 2 anos, a gente organiza a Marcha das Mulheres, né? Se vocês quiserem participar junto com a gente, marchar junto com a gente, né, em Brasília, vão ser bem-vindas. Deixo esse convite para vocês, tá bom? Se tiver indígena aqui dentro, acabei de ver uma bem ali, parece, que vocês possam, a universidade possa apoiar para levar ela também para ir se juntar a nós lá no Brasil.
So on CAM, every 2 years, we're organizing the walk of women. So this is happening every 2 years. It happened this year, so next time it's going to be September 2025. I invite all the women here to come there with me, and also if there is like some indigenous women here in Sciences Po, I think that I saw one in the audience. So please support her if she wants to come. Try to find a solution, like economically or otherwise, to make her come and to be part also of this movement.
So a little commercial. I don't know if there is anyone here, but last year a group of Brazilian students organized the Association pour le Brésil, who have been working to create linkages between Sciences Po and the Amazon. Not just so that the Amazon can come to Paris, Paris also goes to the Amazon. In both directions, there is a lot to learn also. Please.
Hi. Hello? Okay. Hi. Thanks for being here today. So I come from Canada, and this past summer we had our worst wildfire season in a long time. And the fires spread all in our northern part of the country, and the smoke creeped down into the southern part of our country, and people got sick. And in Canada, we thought for a long time, at least within environmental movements, within our Indigenous movements, that once people started feeling the effects of climate change, that they would do something, that our government would act. And we felt it last year. Okay, sorry, we felt it last summer, and, sorry. And I'm just wondering, do you have any advice for how, as activists, we can get people to care more, and how we can also get our governments to care more? Thank you.
Eu acho que o papel assim que vocês, jovens ativistas, podem fazer é não desistir, tem que ir, né? Muita gente vai demorar para ouvir a nossa voz. Para eu estar aqui demorou muito, viu? Mas não é impossível, porque nós estamos falando de vidas agora. Esse é o momento de falar para os nossos governantes, né, que precisa ouvir. E fazem mobilizações no seu país, né, com as universidades. Se a gente pudesse, a gente podia parar o mundo. Porque se todos os jovens do mundo param, porque eles vão ser vistos. Porque não é mais brincadeira. Ninguém está falando de problemas que vai acontecer daqui 5 anos. São problemas que estão acontecendo agora. Já faz tempo que está acontecendo. Só que nós, povos indígenas, a gente tem falado isso há muito tempo. E esse é o momento de vocês, jovens, falarem.
So the first thing that I will say is like engage and don't give up. It can be frustrating sometimes. Maybe you will think that you're not going like really far, but look at me. I'm here today, but it took like really long time. You don't have like to give up. You have to fight, because now we're not speaking about like something. This is not a game. We're all dying. Our planet is like really dying. And the things that they said that they were going to happen in years, where it's not going to happen in years, it's already happening. You just said it. Like you have it in your country. You are seeing it, what is happening. So young people, you are the ones that can change these things. You can engage with universities. You can like go to the streets. You can raise your voices. If every young people now will stop around the world, people will start like looking at you, and you will have more voices to say, well, like, we don't want this like this. We need to change our governments. We need to change the way we're acting, because this is, again, not a joke anymore. We're like really going to destroy everything around us and ourselves.
Enquanto que a gente está falando aqui, tem um monte de gente consumindo lá fora. Eu acho que isso também precisa parar. Tem gente consumindo loucamente, tem um monte de luz aí sem necessidade. Então, eu acho que isso também precisa ser começado pelas universidades. Precisa trabalhar isso. Por que precisa de tanta luz assim?
So, what we're speaking here inside of Sciences Po, there are like people outside. They are like just like buying stuff, buying everything. There is like, this city has so much light. Like, why we need all this? Why we're like consuming, why we're buying all these things? Why we need so much light, so much energy in this way? This is something that we have to ask also, and I think that universities should be a place where we are asking ourselves, in which way are we like, choosing to live?
Faz trabalhos escritos, faz qualquer coisa que chame a atenção. Gente, o povo gosta de escândalo.
When you're doing research, please do something that is like bold and is a little bit like a provocation, because people, they like that. They want provocation. So don't worry like to make like a scandal.
And we will take the last question.
I'm too small. Is the indigenous in me? We're small. Thank you. Você fala espanhol? Oh, porque... I can also do it in English, but if it's better for you. En español. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Yo soy indígena, yo misma soy de la nación quechua de Perú. Me orgullece tener a una persona indígena hablando a nosotros, sobre todo en una institución tan prestigiosa y con mucha historia aquí en Francia. Mi pregunta era un poco, yo quería saber cómo es el apoyo que su nación, que su tribu en la Amazonía recibe, si es que es más foránea del extranjero, o usted siente que el gobierno brasileño es el mayor opositor para la lucha que ustedes están haciendo en la Amazonía. En el Perú, las tribus amazonas, el gobierno peruano es el mayor contrincante, porque no apoya para nada a los derechos de los indígenas. Y bueno, esa era mi pregunta, pero sobre todo para mí es un orgullo tenerla usted aquí al frente de nosotros hablando. Siento que estoy temblando porque siendo indígena uno sabe la posición o el rol que uno tiene en la sociedad, y cómo muchos países y muchas sociedades nos ven a nosotros como menos por el hecho de que venimos desde con otros conocimientos que son más ancestrales y no tan como educación básicas o educaciones occidentales. Y es un orgullo tenerla aquí en París y en Sciences Po. Gracias. While she's translated, I was asking her if the government of Brazil was their biggest oppressors in their fight for the indigenous rights and environmental rights as well. Yes, that was basically my question. I gave a little bit of background about myself. That was it.
Obrigada, você é muito linda.
Thank you so
Parenta,
much.
né?
You're so cute.
A gente recebe mais de fora do que no Brasil.
The truth is like we're getting much more support from outside our country than from Brazil.
A gente tem apoio diretamente dos países, né? Alguns países que apoiam diretamente as nossas organizações indígenas.
We have some countries that are supporting directly our indigenous organizations.
O que vai direto, o que vai pelo governo, né, de 100%, o que chega na base é 10%.
So they support, the ones that support us like directly is much better, because when they go through the national government, what is really coming to us is maybe 10% of like what is supposed to come.
Sempre foi assim, e sempre nós somos tratados assim, né? Não é só no Brasil, em todos os lugares, povos indígenas são tratados assim. Mas chega dos outros falarem por nós.
This was always like this. Not just in Brazil, also with a lot of other indigenous people that I know, that I spoke with, this is what is happening. Like there are people coming and speaking in our place.
Hoje, por exemplo, quem me trouxe aqui foi uma instituição francesa, né, que são parceiras, são situações diferentes. Tem pessoas que falam por nós, quer fazer as coisas por nós, esses são e tem aqueles que são parceiros que levam a gente junto para ser ouvido, ensina a gente como que é da cultura deles. Então, esses apoios sempre vieram de fora, né? Não é diferente no seu país.
So, for instance, today I'm here with a French association called like AFV, Association pour la Forêt Vierge, and this association we are working together. It's a partnership. It's not that they are like speaking for us. They are like they are helping me to come here, and they are giving me the stage so I can speak my voice. So they are not taking over.
We've come to the end of our 60 minutes. Once again, I want to thank you for being here, for putting your questions. Not only your questions, tonight there were a lot of personal experiences. This is a diverse institution that is committed to diversity. That is not easy. That is not perfect. But that is our commitment. So, thank you, Watatakalu. You told us many things tonight. You told the students many things tonight. You told them that the leadership matters. You told them that each one of them can be a leader. You told them that it's not easy, that they have to fight, but you told them that it is possible to make progress. So, muito, muito, muito obrigada, Watatakalu. Please give her a big applause.
Gente, eu vou fazer um canto para vocês de despedida, né? Porque não adianta eu falar que eu aprendi um canto na minha cultura e eu não sei, né? Eu vou embora.
So to say bye, I'm going to make a song from my culture.
iri ré, no yawa, iri ré, eri na yu, ya, eri na yu, ya, eri na yu, ya, eri na yu, ya, eri na yu, makawakuma, eri na yu, makawakuma, eri na yu, na yu, na yu, ya, yua, iri ré, no yawa, iri ré. Muito obrigada.
Thank you so much.